population. We robbing underdog and prize picks. We the best in this biz. You ain't telling us shit. It's population. We love making money quick, fast. Cooking up a team card. The whole crew about to smash. It's population. We do it for the fam, so everybody let's cash. The dopest team you ever seen. Winning money, stacking G's. Boogie setting traps, but they'll never catch me. Some people get addicted like raps to the cheese, but I got one obligation to bring Johnny to his knees. Holding back the props till the morning he knows. They'll be fishing in the shack, plotting nukes with the pros. Only withdraw, never reload. Elevated to my amigos. We go with honest, we seeking the bloods. We know when a fucking cheat code. Party that I'm sweating, they can't be good for my health. Some may call it making bets, I call it investing in myself. I'm picking props like stocks, population for the win. Got my sips in by the buzzer now, let the games begin. It's population. It's population. It's population. We do it for the fam, so everybody let's cash.
All right, what is up, fam? We are back better than ever. Kind of took a break over the weekend, had some family stuff, and we got our usual crew member E back with us too. He was gone on vacation. How was your vacation? You went on a cruise, right?
Yeah, man, we went to Cozumel down to Mexico, and it's pretty awesome. Got to do a lot of stuff, enjoy the time off, and now getting ready to get back at it for a new month.
Yeah, new month. Start of November. So right in the heart of NBA season. Starting to get data and rotation and minutes, and key players starting to be rolled out and rotational changes. So we're going to keep adjusting, and we're kind of getting the field teams going forward now. We got more data. We only have a 4-game slate today, so it's a good slate to get our feet back wet again. And yeah, I think there's some key injury news to watch out for. I think there's some questionable tags, and especially in the first game. So we'll start with that. It's the Bulls at the Nets. Ayo Dosunmu is questionable. I think he missed the last game, and as a result, Caruso started alongside Patrick Williams in the backcourt, and Patrick Williams ended up playing big minutes because before he was playing about 15 minutes, and all of it was pretty much in the first half. So we need to watch out for that news. That'll be key because if Dosunmu plays, this is a really good spot for him for rebounding, assist against the Nets, who are going through some turmoil right now. So if you're not caught up on news, Steve Nash was let go today, and it was announced that the assistant coach was going to fill in for the time being, but the Nets are looking to finalize a deal with Udoka. So that'll be interesting. Nets really need a coach like him because their defense is really struggling. If you look at the team stats, they are second to last in defensive rating. They're pretty much dead last in rebound percentage. So they're getting killed on the glass. They're getting killed on defense. So they need a defensive mind like Udoka and definitely beef up their defense. So it's going to be hard to predict what to expect from the Nets tonight. Either it's just like too much going on in the front office and just as a team as a whole, and they struggle tonight, or they rally together after stuff with big news like this and coach changes. Just depends on how the teams respond. Sometimes we see both sides. So it's only a 1.5 point spread last time I looked, and a really high total at 232. And this is a TNT game, so TNT airs 2 games on Tuesday nights. And this is one of them, the first one, at 7:30 Eastern. So it should be, if Vegas is right, it should be a good game. It should be a shootout, and hopefully, stay close. But let's just start with the away team, the Bulls. I hate trying to choose which top 3 Bulls player to go with LaVine, DeRozan, and Vooch, especially when they're going against a really soft defense. Any one of them could have a spike game, and that just kills the other one. But it's a great spot for DeRozan. I think he's still at 24.5. Oh, he got bumped to 25.5. Okay, so he opened at 24.5 on PrizePicks, and now he's 25.5. and that matches what he's at on underdog. And then Vooch rebounds all the way up to 12, which makes sense because, like I said, the Nets are dead last in rebounding, and Drummond, I think, is still out. So huge rebound potential here for Vooch, but it's a really high number at 12. He usually sits around 10.5 or 11. Do you have any strong leans on the Bulls while we wait for the IO news?
Nothing really solid right now, to be honest. As you mentioned, it's kind of that three-headed situation we have with this team as usual. Who's going to be the go-getter? In theory, you would think that Vooch is going to go out there and really get it done, but you got to look at what he's done so far this season. For this prop line being so high for him, he's only cleared it 3 times so far, and going back to last year, a couple games mostly at full strength, but even still, he kind of struggled in this matchup against that front court. So it's possible, we're going to have Ben Simmons out today, and he's a really efficient rebounder for Brooklyn. But man, I got to give it up to Claxton. He has really, really held his own this year, and I think that there's still a little suspect on the front court for Brooklyn, but they're coming along pretty well. And between the front and the back court, and with or without Simmons, he's fouled out and he's been kind of a non-factor for some games too. Vooch could have his way, but I think the rebound specifically might be a little bit of a risk tonight, just because we could see, Levine or DeRozan really kind of have a hyper game. And you never know with Patrick Williams too. We haven't seen him really play deep minutes, and he's typically just kind of a rebound and defender guy. So if he's going to slot in some for Io here, he could really muddy up the water for a few things. And if Vooch gets in any kind of foul trouble, they might end up playing a little bit more small ball here to try to contend with the pace that Brooklyn's going to have.
Yeah. So speaking of pace, Brooklyn is around 20th in pace, so bottom, but Chicago's top 10 and 7th in pace. So it's a pace up spot for Brooklyn. I don't know, with Simmons being out, I don't know how much, we don't have much data on it, how much it changes the overall pace of Brooklyn, because Seth Curry did play the other game, but now he's out again. So it's going to be Joe Harris probably starting at the 2 spot, and then Royce O'Neal moving down to the 4 spot here. So maybe it's a little bit of a pace up, especially if Kyrie's pushing the unit. Want access to this game, it's the highest total on the slate, the smallest spread, being the TNT game, but with Nets going through the turmoil and things like that, there's some unknowns. But I mean, DeRozan, I guess let's look out for his free throw prop. It's usually around 7.5. It could be good against guys like Claxton, who are pretty foul heavy centric, but it would have been nice if Simmons was playing, because that would be even more foul potential.
Or even Vooch, he might get a decent free throw line here as well.
Yeah, let's see surprisingly, Brooklyn is 6th in free throw attempts allowed. Chicago is 28th, which is interesting. So they're allowing the 3rd most free throw attempts. So definitely keep an eye out for Kyrie and KD's free throw props. That might be something to look into. But yeah, Chicago's tough today. I would think, DeRozan, this type of matchup.
Did we just get free throws?
Did we get them?
Yeah, I see DeRozan, I think.
Yeah, 7.5. Okay, his usual 7.5. I obviously I liked it a lot more if Simmons was playing, but in a competitive game that should go the distance, I think that could be in play. Definitely like Kyrie at 5.5 if the Bulls are actually allowing this many free throw attempts. But yeah, I mean, I would say for me, I mean, if I had to choose a Bull, it really depends on IO news, but I would say either DeRozan's points or his PRA, and then yeah, I think everything else is a wait and see on Dosunmu. So, you got anything we want to mark down?
Maybe a small nod to see. It's unfortunate they didn't give us a Levine assist prop this time too, and I'm sure they're going to sandbag it and probably not give it at all. It would have been nice even at like 4.5, especially with Io out. That's going to bump his
Yeah.
rating a little bit there. But man, it's tough. Like right now, at least no warm and fuzzies. We definitely need that news there for us.
Yeah, that's probably why they're holding out on his assist prop because of that pending news too. Yeah. Yeah, let's wait and see. We should get that news since it's one of the first games on the slate, so we should get that news before decent time before lock. But yeah, let's move to the Nets. We saw with Ben Simmons out, it was a huge boost to Kyrie's assist potential and KD's rebounding. They both cleared both of their lines yesterday, so they're on a back-to-back. I think, the Bulls being pretty much mediocre on defense, they're averaged 15th in defensive rating. And with this high total, and that's being at home, like I said, they could rally together. I think both KD and Kyrie scoring is obviously live here. The Bulls are interesting, allowing the, third most threes to their opponents. So obviously Kyrie could get hot from three. Even Royce, who they rely on the kick out threes. But I don't think we have any props for him yet. Oh, we do. Okay, 8.5. Do we have any 3-point props for him? Obviously not.
Nah.
Surprise. Yeah. So, what's your lean? I think obviously KD would get a rebound boost here, and then Kyrie's assist, but they all got juiced a lot. So, do we want to just stick with Kyrie's scoring potential and maybe stick with KD's rebounding or even his scoring potential here? Everything is pretty much juiced by 1 or 2 for their what they've been at for the season with Simmons on the court.
Yeah, I think, some exposure between KD and Kyrie for sure. I don't mind the points call. He's been kind of on a mission lately and really performing for the team. And, as you mentioned, his assist with Simmons out, probably going to give a small nod to either just a straight up assist potential there, but his points assists, I think, are definitely in play. They got it at 34.5 right now.
Okay.
Yeah, so small tax for it, but I mean, these guys are clicking really well together right now, and honestly, I like Ben Simmons. I think he's a pretty solid player, but this team has just played so well together for so long, and him this on and off the court thing, we're already going to see this starting early in the season, and hopefully this isn't going to be a thing moving in the future, but it just messes with how the team gels from now and then again.
Yeah. And Claxton, Vooch is known to be a really bad pick and roll defender. He can't switch that well. If Claxton's out, Claxton's very fast, athletic if on the pick and roll, so he could burn him for some alley oops and dunks and things like that. So I think the scoring potential could be there. Both these teams are average in points allowed in the paint. So, what's your thoughts on him? He's juiced about 12.5. He usually is around 11.5.
Yeah, man, I like him, and for the last 2 days they keep stranding us without his fantasy prop. I can already tell you we're not going to get it again today. Dude's been awesome. He's really fun to watch. He's just getting it done between scoring and rebounding and being able to set that pick and roll. And I wish we could get something with like a good stock upside. They gave us his 2.5 stocks. Or blocks plus steals. That it's in his wheelhouse, but we're relying on scorekeepers and what have you. So that one feels a little high. Maybe if it was at 2, it's not bad. But his PRA we're going to be paying a tax on because he's not really getting many assists at all. But either just straight up points, rebounds, or maybe you go for both and go for points plus rebound. Yeah. I like him quite a bit today, though, I gotta say.
Yeah, either the points or the PR. The PR is not taxed, straight addition. They do have he doesn't really get steals, so that, I mean, if you were going to go with the stock, I would just go with the 1.5 block shots, because he can rack up blocks, but the Bulls just don't really force the issue. I feel like driving to the basket that much, and Vooch will play out on the perimeter a lot. So
Yep.
it's we'll have to dive into the advanced data on that, but I don't know.
Doesn't feel good.
Yeah, I might just want a scoring potential here. And then Royce, yeah, I think with Seth Curry being out, it's somewhat of more security in his minutes. And the Bulls are giving up threes, and that's what he's there for. So I feel like with this, you're really betting on him to make 2 or 3 threes. So something for a low line if you want to consider, but probably just gonna stick with the main guys. And yeah, I right now, just going with Kyrie's points, assists, and then a tertiary play would be his free throws. And then KD, would we say his rebound number 1? Because they need so much help on the glass, or would you stick with his scoring in a separate card from Kyrie?
Yeah, probably some good combination, mix and match between the two of them. Just make sure they correlate together well. I definitely want exposure out of this game. Right now it's just going to be kind of getting down to this nitty gritty to figure out card combinations, but it's got a good total, decent pace, and at least from Brooklyn, we know who the scorers are going to be. So
Yeah.
we just need to land on that right combo.
Yep. Okay, let's catch up with chat and we'll move on. What up, Devin? Jay Smooth? It's population time. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's been a while. Glad that all of us are back. What up, Flo? RW? Underrated. E is back. Let's go. That's right, man. We missed him here. JR Smith's Bull Soup. What up, man? Jatoa? What's up, dude? And Io? Yeah, the boys are here. All right, let's move to the next game. Start at the same time. Start a lock, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. It's the Warriors at the Heat. We just saw this matchup, and this is to close the series between these two because they're out of conference, so it's only a 2-game series. It's a 225.5 total, and I believe the Heat are. I did not update this. I believe they're 1.5 point favorites. Yeah, so both these teams are really struggling. The Warriors are on a 3-game losing streak on this road trip that they're on. The Heat are on a 2-game losing streak. They lost to the Warriors and then the Kings, and the Warriors lost to the Pistons and Charlotte as of late. So yeah, the Warriors are really struggling, especially with their young unit. They're trying to give the young guys more run to save the legs of the vets because it's a long season, and the young guys are just not getting it done off the bench, and as a result they're playing really, really bad defense. They're giving up like crazy numbers, especially in the first half, allowing so many points, especially in the paint. They're getting killed on the glass. And another metric that reflects their lack of motivation overall to not play defense is that they're fouling at a high clip. They're allowing the second most free throw attempts in the league, and that's a really strong indicator of laziness and lack of motivation, just lazy fouls and not playing solid, sound defense. So they're just getting burned in the paint all around. So at some point the defense will come back. I mean, we saw all last season they were top 5 defense, but right now with this young unit, it's really struggling. I saw a stat with when Wiseman, his limited time when he is on the court, they're giving up the most points as a unit. So he's really struggling defensively. So he's losing out on minutes as a result because he's a defensive liability, and he's really just a scorer. And in the Steve Kerr era, like, he's never had a center like that. He's always had a center that's focused on setting screens up top, playing defense, and rebounding, like Bogut and Zaza. All those guys, they weren't scorers. They were there to role play and set up for others. So yeah, it's a struggle for, I feel like, Steve to get Wiseman into the mix of things and figure it out. So I think Looney's going to have to play a little bit more minutes. I mean, when we saw this matchup recently, the Heat just destroyed him in the paint to no surprise. So Bam went off, Jimmy went off. They had no answer to stop. The Warriors had no answer to stopping them. And then Wiggins struggling as of late in the last 2 games too. He was pretty much their most consistent player to start the season. So he's in a little bit of a slump. This could be a bounce back spot, but yeah, both these teams really need this game. They're on, like I said, a losing streak. And I feel like the Heat being back at home, they don't want to get swept by the Warriors in this 2-game series. They're going to come out fighting. And I've listened to Heat beat writers and fans, and they're already calling for tank already. But that's just fans being fans and are already wanting to tank. But I think the Heat are still solid. They're also struggling defensively, especially with Tyler Hero starting. Yep. So there's going to be some give and take here. Something's got to give. And we could see a pretty similar outcome as last game. It was high scoring, sloppy with a lot of turnovers, steals, and Warriors, struggling in the paint. But then Warriors got hot from 3. Right now, nothing really standing out for me for the Warriors. Like I said, I think Wiseman will probably continue to play less minutes because of his defense, which is going to hurt Poole's assist potential. I know his assists at 4. He has been playmaking, but he really needs Wiseman out there because the majority of his assists are going to Wiseman and the second unit. But let's see if Wiseman gets a little bit more run. He did okay in this matchup recently against Miami. But I feel like Poole, all his lines are still pretty low. His points and assists, and even his PRA. So if you wanted to go with that, totally understand. But you probably want access to Tyler Hero defense, which Poole will overlap with. But yeah, Steph's all his lines are pretty juiced. He's on a tear run. He's getting over 30 points a game recently, but they have him at 27.5 in a pace down matchup. So not feeling that great, especially on the road. And then, like I said, the Warriors have been on this long road trip, so they're probably getting tired, especially the vets. So I mean, I would either say go with the Wiggins fantasy or point potential. And I think Draymond would definitely be needed in this matchup. His PRA could be in play here. And their minutes are going up, Jerry and Clay. So, anything stand out to you for the Warriors side before we move to the Heat?
Yeah, pretty much right there with you. I liked Wiggins in this matchup. He's got a pretty solid history being able to put up points and grab quite a few rebounds. So any combination, probably just either straight up points or go with his fantasy score. We know that Miami's going to keep it predominantly a lot inside if they can and try and drive the lane. So he's got some stock options here, plus being able to hopefully help push this offense forward because, as you mentioned, they've really struggled. And honestly, the daggers have just been, as you said, the fouls with the second unit. Like those have been the absolute worst because some of these guys are having to play really short rotations, and these, tired legs who just checked out like 3 minutes ago, they're coming right back in, or coaches having to dig deep and go all the way out to third stringers who basically are doing the same thing. And it's really making it hard for them to come back. And, we've even seen for some of these home games, they've really struggled to keep the games, well within check. That it seemed like they were doing really well, and then second unit comes out and it's just like, man, what happened?
Yeah.
Don't mind the Jordan Poole assist call. I think it's still well within his wheelhouse. This is somebody who was, we were betting on him when he was at, 30, 33 fantasy score kind of line. So this dude's definitely got it in him. As you mentioned with Wiseman, that's going to be a little bit of a gamble, but hopefully they're still developing a lot between that second unit and the time that he plays with some of the first. So if they start clicking a little bit better, as much as Curry scoring too, hopefully we can get a little overlap between Man, Clay, that dude is my kryptonite. I cannot ever get him right. I feel like he has a Clay day every now and then for the most part he just kind of is out there doing his thing a little bit and then checks out and it's like, oh, I forgot he was even in this game.
Yeah, I expected this coming, missing all of off season and training to start off slow. So, but yeah, that's a problem. He can just get hot from three at any time. So it makes you nervous going under on him. But the consistency is definitely not there yet. It's definitely up and down to start the season. Yeah, Poole and Wiggins probably feel like the safest bet. Just due to the pricing versus Steph's lines. Let's see. Did they juice Steph?
Sorry. I was gonna say I will say real fast. We are getting a 0.5 discount on Steph's rebound assist right now, since they did bump his rebounds up to a full 6 earlier.
I don't mind that. You know, you can get it done on the glass and playmaking too. So
yeah, he's been doing it lately.
Yeah, I don't mind that. Okay. If there's nothing else, let's move to Miami. So this is Miami, a huge pace up spot because Warriors are running the second fastest pace, and Miami is down near the bottom, 23rd. And yeah, both these teams are really struggling on the glass overall. Bottom 10 and rebound percentage overall, but Warriors, like I said, they're giving up pretty much the most rebounds and points to bigs. So Bam should have a field day again. His fantasy point in this last matchup 2 games ago, I think it was at 34.5. It's only gone up to 36.5, and he's been exceeding his expectations lately. He could have another really solid game. I would probably have exposure to either his fantasy or his points. His points is juiced at 18.5. It's usually around 16.5, 17.5. But
yeah,
like I said,
more than 18.
Yeah, the scoring potential is sky high for him in this matchup. I really, probably gonna lean fantasy, and then I think another prop I really like is Kyle Lowry. He always gets up when he plays Steph and company, and his fantasy is still at 26.5.
So low.
It's really low, and how many threes he's been taking lately. And the Warriors will give up the 3 ball. Teams will chuck it from 3 against them since the Warriors take the most threes in the league. So most teams will try to keep up with their 3-point shooting. And he's been shooting pretty efficient from 3 lately in the last 3 games. So I like that of probably all of his props because he will rack up steals too in this matchup and definitely stock potential there. And then the one definitely want access to Jimmy Butler because we saw him just go absolutely off in this last matchup. I think he had 7 stocks total or something like that.
yeah, that was insane.
I mean he's gonna do it all, but just narrowing down which prop we want. I think with the up pace, we probably want access to his rebound and assist here. His fantasy you would like, but it's pretty juiced relative to what he's been doing this season. But which one is your favorite for him? Probably his rebound, assist, or just take them both at with the RA at 11.5.
Yeah, I definitely like the rebound assist. We're getting that at least right now at even money, and he kind of does a little dance back and forth sometimes between how many additional rebounds he's going to get in this matchup outside of his per usual, and that back and forth with the assist because he's kind of the 1B in this matchup for Lowry. As you mentioned, he's going to shoot the 3 ball and he facilitates a lot in this matchup. And you might run that a little bit of the risk there, but I think he's got really good rebounding upside here. And, we saw a ton of offensive rebounds too here. So if, you probably run some combination between, I think, RA, maybe just straight up rebounds, and then I don't even mind his free throws as well, man. They're going to foul him up front quite a bit, and if we get a little bit more of a deeper bench here, he could probably get up to that 8th. I think he had 8 or 9 attempts this last game and just bricked a few, but
yeah,
Might be a little bit more of a fringe prop for him, but I like that RA a lot, especially right now at even money.
Yeah, and you could still stack it with the Lowry fantasy or Bam fantasy, and they shouldn't affect each other that much. So
No, exactly.
probably just mix in a combination of two of these three in different cards, and I don't know if I want to play all three in the same card, but some combination of two of these three. I feel good about. So it's a really good matchup, and it just the narrative and everything's setting up for Miami to bounce back here and not get swept by the Warriors at home.
Yeah, and a lot of Lowry's props are really good and interchangeable with some of these other pieces. You know, you can go like his points assists, and then go with like Jimmy rebounds, or if you want some exposure to Tyler Hero for this game, you know, you could sprinkle him in the mix too.
Yeah, I don't mind Lowry's assist potential in this up pace matchup for the Heat. So
Yeah, and DK Books love him today. I think all of his lines were almost 130 to way over that.
yeah, I saw Underdog bumped him recently to his PRA. They bumped him by 1. I think he was at 21.5 and he went up to 22.5 recently. So same for Bam, I believe. Yep, he's at 20. Yeah, he got bumped to 22.5 PRA. And Bam's at 31.5. I think Bam opened at 30.5 on Underdog. But he's still at 30.5 on Prize Picks.
Yeah, love his fantasy today. Sky's the limit.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Let's move to the third slot of the day. At 8 p.m. Eastern. It's the lowest total on the slate, 216 implied total. And it's Magic at OKC. And OKC are 3-point favorites. Key news, Cole Anthony remains out. He'll be out extended time. And Jalen Suggs is questionable. So we need to watch out for that news. But other than that, the lineup should stay the same, especially the front court for the Magic. And for the Thunder, Giddey remains out. And we saw Poku slide into the starting lineup recently. So
somebody in chat actually real fast said Giddey was upgraded to questionable.
He was just upgraded?
Yeah, or I'm going to look into that right now, see that.
Okay. While you do that, I'll just go over the Magic. So Magic are coming off a 2-game losing streak, I believe. They hung tough with the Mavs, but they ended up losing that one. Banchero had his first game under 20 points. I think he finished with 19. This is a favorable spot for Banchero and Wendell because OKC really doesn't have the front court to match them in terms of size. You know, they got 6'3" Dort out there and a smaller Poku. Especially Poku's weight. He does not match the weight and size of the front court of Magic. So big potential for rebounding and scoring for Magic here. Let's look at the team stats as of late.
And so real fast, they ruled Suggs in for today, or he's available at least, and Josh Giddey is upgraded to questionable.
Okay, that's going to change things big time. Okay, so I assume that Trey Mann will go to the bench if he plays.
Assuming, yeah.
Assuming if he plays. So that's going to change some things up. Did they already take OKC props off the board?
I think they left a couple. Yeah, they left Shy and Dort. Maybe they haven't reacted to this news yet. That's actually interesting.
Yeah, you could consider some unders on Trey Mann, but it's risky because he could end up not even playing, or if he could play but play limited minutes. We don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's talk about the Magic here. I think there's some key spots we can consider. So the Thunder, they just came off a big win against the Mavs in overtime. Luka came off a game where he was 0 of 6 from 3, shot 34%, and he said after the game that Lou Dort's top 3 defender in the league. I mean, which is no surprise. Dort tends to give the primary ball handler and scorer of the opposing team problems because he just plays so aggressive and hustles. And he has the size and strength. Or he has the weight and strength to handle, but he definitely lacks in height, being at 6'3". But he's been fouling so much. He's like had 4 or 5 fouls a game lately, and yeah, I'm just curious to see how they match up, how they're going to handle this front court of the Magic, because with the size of Wendell and Banchero being over 6'10", it's going to be hard for OKC here. So I guess Banchero as a result. I mean, he's up to 22.5 his point prop. It's I think the free throw potential could be there especially if he sees a lot of Dort on switching. Dort's going to foul him, but his free throw prop, I believe they opened it at 6.
Whew.
But Wendell, I think his assist potential is going to be really high. Even with Jalen Suggs playing, I think with Cole being out, and his rebound potential is really high, and obviously his scoring here. But talk to me on Magic, especially the front court, if you have any early leans on them.
Yeah, man. They've definitely got some size in this matchup, and we've pretty much seen it since the start of the season that OKC, they're just going to try and play fast and score, hopefully efficient, hit a lot from beyond the arc, but they really don't have much up front at all right now as far as slowing anybody down. So between Banchero and I think Wendell Carter, they're really going to work those boards a ton. Between the two of them, we can honestly see an easy 10 rebound game apiece here, and it's going to be tough for OKC to hang in at least on that aspect. But as you mentioned, if they're going to shut down a lot of the perimeter shooting that Orlando might be able to have here, especially with Cole Anthony out, he's not notoriously a long ball shooter, but they could have some, like between Suggs, and we also have even seen Terrence Ross. He's been shooting fairly efficient lately as well. So it's kind of hard to narrow down, I think, some of these wings for Orlando today. But I love Carter. I think he's got a really solid history in this matchup, and somewhere between, maybe Banchero points or fantasy score for a little bit of stock upside. And you could probably run it back with like Wendell Carter rebounds or some combination of that. Franz, man, he's such a back and forth flake player. I think he's a really great real life player, but betting aspect, he just plays a lot of defense and snags a couple rebounds. If there's 3 balls landing, he's probably having a great night, but probably just, honestly stick to our guns here. We know who their performers are going to be. And with Cole Anthony being out for tonight, let's go back to him. Did they lower his points?
They did.
They did. Okay.
They lowered his PRA too. It was at 29.5 and it went down to 28.5.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I saw that he got bumped down earlier, but that's kind of surprising. They went a little more all in after the news.
But they bumped his rebounds from 9.5 to 10, and then they're taxing the PR heavily by 1. It's at 25.5 instead of what it should be at 24.5. Which I guess they kept the original point line here with this PR. I like the points. I mean, I know it's right there on the fringe, but with this matchup, he could definitely get it done. And Jalen's not really going to get done scoring wise, so I think it sets up nicely for Wendell here. I definitely like his rebounds when it was at 9.5, but still a strong chance of pushing and going over. But he usually sits around that 9 rebound mark. And Boy is out.
I believe so. Let me go back to it
because he was in the starting lineup, which was hurting rebound potential for Wendell and Banchero.
He might be back in this game. Looks like just Isaac, Folds, Anthony, Mort, the other Wagner, and Gary Harris. They're all going to be out.
So I with OKC playing small ball, maybe he goes back to the bench.
Yeah, I would think so, honestly. I mean, 'cause they have so much size already to begin with, and he's kind of I think personally he's a bit of a liability just because he does get into foul trouble and he doesn't offer that much on the offensive side. So if they already have the rebounds and glass covered, well, why does he need to be out there?
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna put points for Wendell first, and it's 28.5 PRA. It's also right there on the edge, and then
Yeah, so real fast with him, they actually just completely adjusted a lot of his lines. His because in the card I posted earlier, there was a full point tax on his points of rebound. It opened at 26.5. So they bumped that down, bumped the rebounds back up to where it should be for that original line, and then bumped his points back down.
Okay.
So that's interesting movement. I know I had a few people that were taking the unders for his assist, so that kind of made sense for them dropping down the PRA. But now with them changing the points and the rebounds, that doesn't really make any sense.
Yeah. Okay. So what would be your favorite Banchero prop?
Probably just points, man. He's just doing the same thing every game, just
So I was
efficient.
thinking,
He's one of those hungry players that really wants to make himself established for this team. You know, as it is, he already got put on with the starters, but now with especially Cole being out tonight, he's going to have more opportunity to have hands on the ball here, and we could see him Wendell and hopefully Suggs take a little bit of a backseat because I know he can be a black hole sometimes and really muddy up things, but he's really been struggling with fouls too. So there's always a chance he could be almost non-existent or not on the floor at all.
yeah. I think Franz you could consider under on his points here. It's the way OKC matches up. I feel like he probably takes the biggest hit on the perimeter, especially if he sees a lot of Dort. Would make sense for Dort to guard him on the perimeter for majority of the time. And yeah, he was going to rely on the 3 ball. So I wouldn't mind it. It is somewhat of it's a pace up spot for Orlando here though, but both these teams are bottom 5 in offensive rating. So that's a good reason why this total is at 216. They're 28th and 26th respectively.
Gonna be some bricks.
Yeah, I do think that Banchero has really good chance to get to the free throw line a lot tonight because, like I said, because of Dort and Poku trying his best to guard him out there, and then when Baisley texts in, I think with the mismatch in size, that's just gonna equate to free throw trips, and he's a very efficient free throw shooter. So, yeah, I think the free throw potential is definitely there in this matchup.
Yeah, definitely. And they carry good weight for each other. You know, one correlates kind of well into the other. If he's going to get 8 trips to the free throw line here, that's going to do a hefty chunk for your real points as well.
Mm-hmm. Am I missing anything else? I guess. I mean, I really like this 14.5 points for Wendell in this matchup.
Yeah, most definitely. If you, I think, really wants some part of his assist line tonight, consider the PRA. It's probably not going to get any stocks tonight. They're not going to do anything down front really, but if you're jonesing to get some piece of that because Cole's out, you could consider that for next up.
We got to see starting lineup. If Boy is starting again, it really hurts the rebound potential for the other front court pieces of the Magic. So we need to look out for that because he's like just absorbing all the rebounds. So if we get news that he's starting again, then I'm just going to stick to the scoring potential of Wendell and Banchero, and then maybe consider an under on Franz here.
Honestly, that would probably make me even like Wendell's real points even more if
Yeah.
Bobo is going to be focused on the glass. Then we'll probably even see Wendell shoot more from beyond the arc tonight too. He's been a little shy from doing that lately.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, let's look out for the starting lineup. Okay, let's move to OKC. So that now it's gonna be hard breaking this down without knowing definitively if Giddey's gonna play or not. But let's assume that a midday upgrade. I'm assuming that he's gonna play. So we've seen SGA just go on a serious heater. Seen it last year too. But it definitely helps when Giddey is out. And yeah, SGA can still get it done scoring wise, but they juiced his point prop up to 28.5. It opened at 27.5. So I'm gonna wait. Are they all gone? Okay, they adjusted now. All the Thunder props are gone. Okay.
Ugh.
So it's gonna be we can't really talk about it. I will say that Dort, I really was liking Dort's fantasy potential here in this matchup. Because of the amount of minutes. I mean, he's been playing huge minutes with Giddey out. He's and having to help SGA big time, and he was playing like 35 plus minutes. His fantasy was at I believe it was at 26.5 or 27.5. So I just liked the amount of production he was getting with defensively filling the stat line. But that's going to change with Giddey potentially playing. It's going to really reduce Dort's potentials for assists, rebounding, and scoring overall. So we're going to have to wait and see what they open the props back up at, and what the Giddey news, whether he's going to be on minute restriction. So sorry, it's going to be hard to make any calls on OKC at the moment. Okay, let's move to the last game. We're making good time here. We'll have plenty of time to build our list out and give it to the community. Late Night Hammer, 10 p.m. Eastern, 227 implied total. Timberwolves at the Suns. Both these teams, I really don't like betting on, but with a small sample or small slate, we're kind of forced to here. But yeah, Suns are 4-point favorites. Let's start with the T-Wolves. It's always hard calling between Cat and Gobert, like the rebound potential, scoring potential here. Prior to Aiden's injury or being out, the Suns have been pretty stout in the paint. They're allowing they've been like the top 5 in points allowed in the paint. But now they have Biyombo starting, and he's a decent, formidable backup big and can get it done defensively somewhat and rebounding. But that's going to make things difficult here to break down. But anything stand up for you for the T-Wolves? I have not really found anything that stood out to me right away.
Nothing too crazy, honestly, right now. If Aiden was in, I'd feel pretty good about taking, going back to Cat under rebound. I still feel that 8.5 is still just a little too high for being alongside not only Gobert, but Edwards as well. He can get up there on the glass quite often. I think still just the way the offense normally runs, we could probably still consider D'Lo's assists. Anytime they're at or under 7, still probably going to be in play.
Yeah, I mean it is nice at 6. It usually sits at 7, so 7.5. Don't mind that.
Maybe
and then Jaden McDaniels, such an up and down player. He can get hot from 3, but he can rack up fouls. I don't know. Do you have any leans on him? And he's on such a usage hog team with the big 3 of D'Lo. Actually, all the guys, all the other 4 guys eat up usage. That play alongside him. So I don't know. They're low lines that are tempting, but there's the foul trouble and then usage getting taken away from him by the other 4.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little tough here. And PrizePicks was definitely smart about their prop selection, not only for accounting for Aiton not being in. They kind of left things just low enough to make it look good, but it's like right there on the line if things don't break our way, or if this game could definitely get out of hand too. We've seen it. This is going to be a fast-paced game, and hopefully it stays close. But I think Aiton being out is going to be really, really tough. And Mikal Bridges, he's a pretty formidable inside defender, but it is going to be rough. This is going to be real rough. I'm expecting a lot of free throw attempts tonight.
Yeah, I mean, both these teams are top 5 in defensive rating. And the Minnesota, just like last year, they're running top 5 pace. So it's a definitely a pace up spot for Phoenix here. Interestingly, key thing to point out, Minnesota are allowing the most team assists so far in the season. So, and while Phoenix is allowing second least. So if you want to consider some assist props for Chris Paul or even Devin Booker, it could make sense here in this matchup. But obviously, I think with Ayton being out, that could hurt the assist potential somewhat for both of them. Because D-Book was running a lot of pick and roll with Ayton and Chris Paul as usual too. Okay, it's always, in my opinion, it's always hard breaking down the T-Wolves because it's still a new unit and we're still accruing data on them and the rotations and how they run, and how the usage spreads out. But I don't have any strong leans yet, so I'm going to break them down a little bit more. But I don't mind, if I had to pick one, I don't mind the 6 assists. But I will say the point guards have been feasting against Phoenix, and a big part of that is because of Chris Paul's defense. So the scoring potential is a little bit higher for the point guard, maybe more so than the assist. I it's not a bad call on the free throw props. Biyombo definitely foul. If you wanted to go with one of, what did they give us? They just gave us Cat so far, or they give us Ant-Man too. Okay, 2.5 for Ant-Man. I don't mind that.
Yeah, that's not bad. And he's been getting the line more often lately, which is, I mean, I love whenever he's that really aggressive player, making those slam dunks, drawing a lot of fouls. That's one thing that I think that he really kind of stepped away from last year. And we saw him starting to get back towards that, and that, that fire of, I want to score. I'm going to make this happen.
Yeah. And before we move on to the Suns, the last team on the slate, do you have any feel on, I know you said you like under on Cat's rebound. Would you consider, if you're playing just a 1-card island game slate late night, would you consider pairing that with over on Gobert's rebound?
Yeah, he's always going to be live for, it's crazy to say, but anytime it's under 14, I think that it's going to be in his wheelhouse. And especially not having Ayton tonight, both these teams are going to chuck a lot of threes, and there's going to be plenty of rebounds to go around. So that and the pace, things would say yes. So I like it, as long as he doesn't get in any kind of foul trouble here. I know, man, Cam Johnson, that dude can frustrate some people, especially if he's drawing them out to the 3-point line and catching them, being able to just give him these open looks. So I'm kind of curious to see this full game tonight play out with Ayton not being with the starting unit.
Yeah, how did it go last game? I was gone, so okay, so yeah, they pretty much split the minutes between Landale and Biyombo, which was kind of expecting. Landale is a better scorer, but definitely struggles defensively. You see, racked up 5 fouls against the Rockets. But yeah, I think with this matchup, with this huge front court of Minnesota, Biyombo is probably gonna have to play more minutes here than they did against the Rockets. But that's the thing about. I mean, if he does get like 25 plus minutes his lines might be set at a 20-minute mark. So
Yeah, and you also unfortunately have to think about the flip side of that too. Okay, we got a few more props for him at least. I know they just had his fantasy score up earlier. Um, but the other guy, you also got to think about he's been racking up a lot of these fouls, playing fairly efficient. But what if he's not fouling? Is he going to still be cutting into Biombo's minutes here? Could we see, Biombo play like 12 minutes tonight?
no, I think with the size, they really need him. I think I would expect Lindell to play around 20 minutes still.
Yeah, you think they keep it pretty even?
Yeah, I mean, I think Biombo matches up better to Gobert, but
And they honestly they might have Landell coming in just for specifically to foul. Like, hey, we need to slow this into the quarter down. I need you to go out there, draw the foul here, take your licks, and then I'm gonna check you out, give him a breather here. Biombo's gonna come back in for that.
yeah. Okay, well, now that we're talking about Biombo, we just transition to the Suns. I think if he stays out of foul trouble, and I think if he plays more minutes here just due to matchup, I think some of these lines can be considered. Probably one axis is just his fantasy. But yeah, I think maybe in his rebounds. I mean, he's a decent rebounder, but it's a tough task against Gobert and them in the paint. So let's look at the other Phoenix guys. Book is right at where he should be at 28.5 points. I will say that Minnesota is allowing the 5th most 3-point made, so definitely a 3-point opportunity here for D-Book. But I've seen him go games where he just plays the mid-range the entire game and doesn't take any threes, so that kind of scares me. It seems like, I don't know, it's a new thing this year with him, because last year he was taking way more threes, I feel like. And then they have Chris Paul back up to his 10.5 assists, which he pretty much was at the entire half of the latter season last year. So, like I said, Minnesota's allowing the most team assists, which you'd want to target Chris Paul for the attack. But again, no Ayton. And when Biombo's out there, probably a little less assist potential. But yeah, 10.5, it's a scary click, but it's Chris Paul, and that's what he's there for. What is his point? His point's at 12.5. Most of the games he's just not even looking to score or get it done. So I feel like that under is always live. But if D-Book's struggling at all and he needs to pick up the scoring, then he might try to score more so. But if D-Book is still cooking, then you can definitely pair a scoring prop of D-Books with the under on Chris Paul's points. Any other leans you have for Phoenix, or did you like any of those?
Yeah, I've personally been playing a lot of under on Chris Paul's points, man. It's been really something that he's taking a backseat to right now. He is just trying to dribble the ball up there, set the plays, get right back on defense. He's not trying to play make as much as possible, because they do have a fair amount of scores on the team still. Losing Ayton here is definitely a bit of a blow for the team, but the guys coming in definitely aren't a slouch. We've seen, especially Cam Johnson, man, that dude will run some pick and roll and get some open threes. So the assist potential definitely there, and we just need somebody else to step it up. So it's going to have to be either Booker, or if you have some lean with Mikal Bridges, maybe even points, rebounds, because he does quite a bit of both. His fantasy's a little bit, I kind of feel taxed, and the issue with him is they're going to pull him out to the 3-point line a lot on his defensive plays. So his rebounds could be in somewhat jeopardy there, unless he's getting a kickback that just happens to land back to him. But even still, more or less he's going to be on the outside of Gobert and probably on the inside of Cat and for him to hop up and grab it between the two of them is going to be a tough ask.
Yeah. Yeah, he's gonna have his hands full guarding Ant-Man the entire game, I imagine. So the Suns tend to have him shadow the best scorer on the opposing team. So and he matches up pretty well with him. Yeah, he'll definitely be on Ant.
I think especially with Ayton being out, going back to that, maybe his 1.5 blocks and steals could be in play. Edwards, he can turn the ball over quite a few times, and especially if we look out into, say, one offensive foul turnover, and then Bridges snags one off of him and one off of somebody else. That could be a decent correlation.
Yep. I only think he should get a boost in his points rebound with Ayton out. If anything, is his points overall with Ayton out.
Yeah,
he'll have to pick it up. Because Ayton being out, you're leaving about 15, 18 points off the board. So as a team, anything else? Never feel good about the Suns.
No, they've burned me so many times. But really, though.
yeah. Cam, I mean, you could always go with this 3-point prop. He's probably gonna take the most threes on the team, and T-Wolves are giving up the 5th most threes made. But it's a high number for him. I feel like and like I said with D-Book, I can't trust his threes lately, like it could last year. Definitely want to see more consistency in his 3-point volume, but maybe this would be the game that he takes more threes because of the interior of the T-Wolves and how much length there is, and maybe he stays away from the mid-range game a little bit more. So you can always consider that, or just go with his straight up raw 28.5 points. With Ayton out, again, the scoring is going to have to come from somewhere, and 8 times out of 10 or 9 times out of 10 it's going to be from D-Book. So it's juiced, but it's just due to situation and being at home without Ayton against the T-Wolves, who should keep it hopefully competitive. I don't mind that. And then just with positive correlation, you could do the 12.5 point under on Chris Paul.
I like it.
Okay. Chad have anything? And then we'll do a team card. We'll get out of here. Yeah, Quinn said OKC going to do this all year. Yeah, with the midday, all the shift in news. Yep. So Draymond's PRA is low. Yeah, I think he's gonna have to play good minutes here in this matchup, and they really need him. Wendell first half over 7.5 points. Great hit rate. Io said. There you go. I have to check his first half rotation. Bridges at 22.5 PRA, looking nice. I also said, yeah, like we said, it's gonna have to fill in for Ayton big time. Oh, okay. Sean said Io is playing Dosunmu. So did they put him back, or they put him on the board? Nope.
No, not yet.
But thank you for the update. So that changes some things. Take this off. Let's look out for his props. I think this is a really, really good matchup for him. And just in terms of filling the stat line with his rebound and assist potential. So if his RA is around, I'm going to say, 8.5 or 7, 7.5 would be most ideal, obviously, but look out for that prop. Wouldn't even mind if we got his rebound prop at 3.5. Are you guys playing Curry under 7 free throw made? J. Cole asked. I don't see it. Oh, there it is. Yeah, the only problem is like if it stays close, like Vegas thinks, he might get some icing free throws, and he's having to be more aggressive attacking the basket because no one else is getting it done scoring wise besides Poole and Wiggins here and there. So it's the only thing that makes me a little bit nervous. But yeah, the Heat I think they're like average in terms of free throws allowed. They are. Oh, they're actually allowing the 9th least amount. So the top 10, they're doing a decent job at not allowing teams the free throw line. So yeah, if you got a good feel on it, I get it. But it's Steph. I mean, if he gets the line 4 times, he's probably going to clear it. Because we know he drains those free throws. Quinn said, I like Booker to go over his points, assists, tight spread, almost 230 total. This looks like a good spot for him. Yeah, like we said, with 8 now, he's definitely have to get it done scoring wise. He did get the assists prop cleared last game without Ayton, but I just noticed the start of the season he was really racking up assists with Ayton on the pick and roll. So just kind of makes me nervous. He barely got over against the Rockets with 6. But it is a pace-up spot against the T-Wolves, just like the Rockets game. So are we getting taxed on the PA?
Is that for Booker?
Yeah. We're getting a discount, 0.5. Okay.
Yeah. Just running the risk of asking or hoping that he's going to facilitate the ball when they need him to score.
Yeah, and not having 8 in there.
Small bit of news. Kobe White is now a game time decision.
Okay, so he was questionable all day.
Yeah,
their backcourt was going to be really thin if him and Dosunmu were both out.
Yeah, I think he's plenty enough to fill in whatever happens between anybody else.
I think Patrick Williams, he gets maybe considered to understand him because it's just like when Sumu plays, they usually have Patrick Williams start the game, but then he only ends up playing 15 minutes. But I mean, who knows if they change up that rotation? Just need confirmation that he's not on any minute limit. Okay. Underrated. Do you guys like Bismack rebounds tonight with 8 out? 7.5 on Underdog. I think is it at 7 on PrizePick? Okay, 7.5 too. Yeah, I mean he's a solid rebounder. It's just tough spot for him. I think if he plays more minutes, like I'm kind of thinking he will, I think he can get it done. So I would probably put that number 1 for him. I agree, and then just do his fantasy number 2. Just hope he can stay out of foul trouble and not rack up fouls on Gobert. Okay, let's do our team card, and then we'll have a little bit over an hour to get our rank list out. So you want to go first?
Yeah, let's see. Let me ask real fast. Was your first option going to be Bam?
I was probably going to go Lowry.
Lowry? Okay. Yeah, definitely want exposure to one of the two of them. Let's go with a little game stack here with Wiggins. Let's say, did you like his points or going with the fantasy over him?
I'm thinking fantasy, because he's gonna rack up the boards and stocks too, probably.
Yeah. Okay. I can go with it. Especially
if you had a stronger lean as points, definitely go with your gut call on that.
We'll go with fantasy. He's playing deep minutes. Should be playing around 30, 33 minutes here, assuming he doesn't get in foul trouble.
All right. Who else you want?
All right. Let's go with Wendell Carter, real points.
Yeah, I like that. It's too bad we didn't. I mean, the Sumu props. And now OKC's off the board completely, so limited on that. Let's go with Bam.
Oh boy.
Wiggins just got. You want to go back? You want to go to his points now, or just stick with it?
Yeah, let's go with his points. He's got a good history in this matchup, and a lot of the damage that he was doing was in real points.
All right, and then for our fourth play, do we want on the fence? So do we just stick with like one Heat, one Warrior in that game, and then we want access to the Bulls nets? Imagine, right? Do we want to go with the Kyrie points or PA?
Yeah, I like his PA, especially with Simmons out tonight. It feels a little low, and we've seen some serious upside from him lately too. So let's keep riding it. While hopefully, between all the drama and chaos and blah blah blah, he's really tried to step it up between him and Durant to be the leader of this team. So I'm hoping that continues tonight, even though they are on a back-to-back.
Yep. Only thing is, like, yeah, if he gets around 6 or 7 assists, yeah, he's gonna score. You need him to score about 28, 29 points. So I guess it makes sense. In case he hooks at 27, you would need him to get 8 assists, which is definitely possible with him. But yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just debating if we want to just go with those raw points or his PA, but we can stick with the PA.
Or you liked his free throws as well, right?
I do, especially with Sumu playing, he will rack up fouls too. Caruso as well. But I probably just want his raw scoring potential here.
You go straight up points then?
I think so. What does chat think? I would like it his PA more if his points were at 28.5. But since it's still at 27.5, I feel like even like because usually if you want to play a PA, if you want like security blanket if they hook, but if he hooks at 27, he's gonna need 8 assists, which is doable. It's still a lot. I don't know. Yeah, let's go with the chat says points. Let's stick with it. And if we wanted to add a fifth, did any other that you wanted to get in there?
No. We're still waiting on a little bit of news here, and they don't even have OKC props yet, do they?
No.
Nope. And nah. Right now, I think
Oh,
we're
you guess
definitely.
Jimmy Butler if you want to go rebound assists, right?
Yes. Actually, good call.
Because that won't eat into Lowry. Fantasy, I feel like maybe probably you can still even play it with Bam. I feel like in this matchup, fantasy. There we go. If you want a 5 pick. Or if you don't want to do a 5 pick, you want to do a 4 pick power, I would just take out Lowry's fantasy and just roll with Jimmy's rebound assists here. All right.
Yeah, we'll get the list tightened up here.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll get all this news coming all at the same time.
Yeah, and hopefully Prize Picks adjusts and gives us more props and more players here shortly. And we're not scrambling to fit in like OKC players and whatnot. So Underdog already adjusted and bumped Patrick Williams down to 8.5 points. I think he's still at 9.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't mind the under on that. That's a pretty sharp call.
Yeah, I mean, if they go back to their normal rotation of him playing 15 minutes total, let's see, because he played 30 minutes with IO out against the Sixers. He played 32 minutes, but then prior to that, he played 20 minutes because IO got injured. That's a concussion game. But when Io plays 30 minutes, Patrick Williams normally plays 14 minutes.
Yeah, and he's gonna be super efficient to get over that 9.
Yeah, we just want to make sure that Kobe is going to play because it looks like Kobe tricks in for him too. So if Kobe White is out, that he could still maybe push 20 plus minutes. So you would want news on that. But yeah, 15 minutes, and for him to score more than 9 points, you could definitely consider the under. But it is Brooklyn's defense, so. Okay, last question. Quinn asked, "Oh, Wendell's points bumped. Perfect.
Again?
So they took it down. They went down and then they went back up.
Yeah, I was saying earlier. So is it 14.5? That's what it's at right now.
Or is he saying it got bumped again and then went back up to 15.5? Oh, no, it's still at 14.5. Okay.
Yeah.
Quinn asked Kyrie's fantasy. Yeah, I mean, that's another one with how many stocks he's racking up now as of late, and how hard he's playing and hustling.
Yeah.
And he's also getting it done on the glass too. Don't mind that. Besides his points, is it gone? Why are the Nets? They never had fantasy props for the Nets, right?
And
I never saw it earlier today.
So. No, they didn't. No, I still have those blank.
Yeah, they still have all the Nets blank, which is interesting. Makes you think they're scared.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. We're going to get everything here in like the next 15, 20 minutes. Like the whole board's going to fill up.
Yeah. So we're going to have to be in our game. We'll be in the voice chat, chopping up with the crew as props drop and change. But yeah, let's definitely keep an eye out for the Nets fantasy. Kobe White. Thank you, Quinn. Kobe White is out. So, and Giddey is in. Okay. Changes things a lot. So yeah, probably off of any Patrick Williams under props because he's probably going to pick up a little bit more minutes. So stay away from that. And then let's see what the OKC lines open at. And we need information on Giddey's minutes if he's going to be on any limit or whatnot because he's missed the last 3 games. So he could very well come back on a limit. All right, guys. You got anything else, Eric?
No, just hang tight. We'll wade the waters here, get all the news, and we'll get it situated.
For sure. All right, fam. Good luck. Catch you in Discord. If you're part of the Discord. If not, definitely join us. The link is below. And we'll keep chopping it up all the way up until lock. Peace.
Peace.
Puts up a tough shot. Bounces around. Goes in at the buzzer. Working it down to 2 on a deep 3. Oh!
It's population.
That's how you win a game.
It's population. We hustle every day to find picks. You can tell us if you want to get rich. It's population. We robbing underdog and prize picks. We the best in this biz. You ain't telling us shit. It's population. We love making money quick, fast. Cooking up a team card. The whole crew about to smash. It's population. We do it for the fam, so everybody let's cash. The dopest team you ever seen. Winning money, stacking G's. Boogie setting traps, but they'll never catch me. Some people get addicted like rats to the cheese. But I got one obligation to bring Johnny to his knees. Holding back the frost till the morning he knows. They'll be fishing in the shack, plotting nukes with the pros. Only with craw, never reload. Elevated them up, amigos. We go with honest, we singing the bloods. We know when the fucking cheat code. Party that I'm sweating, they can't be good for my health. Some may call it making bets, I call it investing in myself. I'm picking props like stocks. Population for the win. Got my sips in by the buzzer now. Let the games begin. It's population. It's population. It's population. We do it for the fam, so everybody